I hope there are questions. They always add a whole other dimension to the class. Mm. We have a. Did somebody have a question? No.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, Stuart, I would like to open and surrender more.
Mhm.
Can you talk about that process? When I ask to open and surrender, I feel like I'm falling and I hit another level of tension.
Well, you're falling because there's a lot of resistance to letting go. And that other level of tension you hit is that place of resistance. I mean, surrender has to be inside yourself, it has to be your activity in the world, it has to be the way you view life, it has to be, living with this thing in your heart that opens to where there's, unconditional giving and receiving in your life. That's not easy because that requires activity. It requires a connection between oneself and the world. And that level of surrender is very important. Another level of surrender is just, finally saying to yourself, I have to get past the tension, the chaos, the confusion, and, my opinions of how other people live, what I think is right or wrong, how I have kind of built a shell around myself as a way of protecting me from the world. The only way life can really damage you is if you don't open. If your heart is open, there's love, and you're connected to spirit, God, whatever you want to call that higher energy. Life, you know, it, in order for life to touch you, it really has to come to that level of your consciousness. And when it really comes to that level of your consciousness, it also has to surrender. People can't sit in judgment of you. They can, but it doesn't mean anything because your connection with spirit is so strong that whatever people say, whatever they do, it could be family, friends, it just bounces off of you, because the connection with higher energy is so powerful inside yourself. That comes through surrender, it comes through letting go. And then it comes through not only letting go on the surface, but there's such deep levels of resistance inside ourselves, things we've repressed that go very deep inside. One of the things that really is one of my great teachers in life is having finally come to realize there's nothing negative in the world. Now, this might sound like, I don't know, it might sound ridiculous, but everything is there to teach us about ourselves. Even the things we perceive to be very negative, war, poverty, etc., it's there to teach us about what we have to do to grow, in order to, first of all, to live in that kind of a world where all of this goes on without allowing that kind of a world to destroy us. And secondly, how we can continue to grow inside and get closer to a state of enlightenment. And nothing is negative in the world. It's all a teacher. And when you finally allow, life itself to become the teacher, you have to surrender very deeply. You have to let go. You can't really even have opinions, about what you think is right. I don't know what's right or wrong at this point in my life. I know that whatever takes place in this planet. It's there to teach me what I have to do to grow. So it's not negative. And I don't sit in judgment, try to fix what can't be fixed. And it's teaching me that the only person I can really fix is me by going deep enough inside. And then you tap energies that are so rich, so deep inside yourself that it can touch other people. Not because you think it's right or wrong, but because the energy is so profound inside one, it reaches out and it touches other people, not the whole world. But like they say in in Judaism, if you save one life in your lifetime, the gates of heaven open to you. And the first life we have to save is our own. Because if we don't do the inner work that enables us to save our own life, and what do I mean by saving our own life? I don't mean some kind of religious, sanctimonious type sense of this is the only path to God. I don't mean that. I mean, we just become happy people. There's love inside us, there's joy inside us. Life is our teacher. And when life becomes teacher, it means we have to surrender in a very profound way inside ourselves. And I've discovered in my own life, it's a miracle. I don't have to walk around judging the world. What is it teaching me about how to grow inside myself? That is what surrender is all about. And then you start letting go of the chaos, the neurosis, the anxiety, the fear, the insecurity, all of this crap that runs rampant through people's lives, that keeps them a victim basically of themselves because they don't let go of it. What do you replace it with? Shakti, higher energy, God, spirit. That's what it's replaced with. And that gives you the strength to truly, you know, uh, live in a state of surrender inside yourself.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome, dear. I mean, what you asked is something that really plagues just about every single person that lives on this planet. You're in an army that's 8 billion strong. I mean that. How to let go? How do I stop, beating myself up? How do I stop all of this chaos that runs around, sexual chaos, mental chaos, emotional chaos, that runs so rampant inside of people that we get to the point where we think something external to ourselves is going to fix it, and it never does. It never does. We have to fix it by building an inner life that is strong enough to transform all of that chaos into joy, into love. That takes an incredibly strong inner life and something that most people really don't want to do because they're not willing to do the work that gets them to the kind of place I'm talking about. Not work, earning money, and yeah, all that's part of it, but work inside themselves. And that's what this meditation is all about. That's all it's about. I've said a billion times already, this meditation is not religion. You can come from any background, any religion, any point of view that you want. This meditation is a craft that can transform human chaos into a connection with spirit. That's all it's about. And gives us the inner capacity to surrender in such depth that we finally let go of all, if you'll pardon my Bronxese, all the bullshit that runs rampant inside of people. But instead, people run around thinking that by the next house, the money I make, the car, the this, all this external stuff is going to fix them. It doesn't. The internal strength is what I'm talking about. Then you can enjoy making money, having a car, a house. I always kid around. You go through the suburbs of where I live and all these beautiful houses, and you know that what goes on inside them is some kind of soap opera in just about every house. The exterior is these gorgeous mansions, and inside there's people eating each other alive. Not all of them, but I would say most of them. And the only reason that occurs in people's lives is they don't do the work. You might have one person doing the work and the rest of the family doesn't. So there's all this drama going on all the time, It's, does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask?
I have a question, Stuart. It's about the meaning of the word surrender. And to me, it either means let go or it means
Yeah.
embrace. And they're two opposite meanings. And I can't quite work it out.
Let go or embrace.
Yeah, that's how it feels. And
Can't let
yet they
go.
mean the opposite.
You can't let go of anything unless you embrace higher energy in the universe.
Ah, that's it.
You understand? A car can't drive unless it has gasoline. Well, now we get electric cars. You need some kind of energy. We need energy. We need to embrace something that gives us the energy to let go of all the bullshit. So we get the Shakti, the spirit, God, higher energy. It gives us the capacity to let go of all the nonsense. Then the soap operas diminish, the dramas diminish. We can laugh at ourselves. We don't take other people's nonsense seriously because we're connected to that source, and that really gives us our life. So it's to let go. You've got to embrace. What are you going to embrace? Is it clear?
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I've been sort of confused about it for a while. It's just totally clicked. Thank you.
I used to have a book that I published called The Deepest Surrender Notes on a Spiritual Life. And people said, I'm not going to read that book because of the word surrender. It means I've got to give up. I'm surrendering to the sheriff in town and I'm going to be put in jail. And I started to laugh, and I'm not going to spend my life explaining the word surrender to people, what it means and the profundity of it. So I changed the title of the book to A Lotus Flower in Muddy Waters. And that I don't have to explain anything because every single human being is a freaking lotus flower growing out of muddy water. Every human being. And it's also one of the great symbols of Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Although I'm not a Tibetan Buddhist, I thought it was just a great way to change it. But I had to start explaining the word surrender. I would give talks, all over the United States, in Barnes and Nobles and Borders, all these bookstores, big bookstores. And people, what do you mean I have to surrender? I'm not going to give up. So I finally said, just change the title, But I can tell you this because you've come to a place in your life where you can truly grasp what I'm talking about. Understand? Most people can. I remember once I gave a talk in New Jersey at a Borders or a Barnes, one of these big bookstores. And after the talk, somebody, raised his hand, had a question. You know, how do what do you think is hell? They asked me. Never forget this as long as I live. Something like that. What do you mean hell? And I just looked at them and I just thought for a second, and with tongue in cheek, I said, you want to know the definition of hell? Just turn on CNN. And that went like zoom. It really just everybody's started. They laughed, because it's true. We don't have to go any further than the madness that goes on in the world to have a deep appreciation for what is hell on the earth. And we need to learn how not to allow the madness of the world to affect us, how to get stronger than it, how to allow it to bounce off us. And it's what I explained. We have to be able to open and embrace higher energy, have a system inside that can absorb it. Because higher energy is not some hors d'oeuvre, this is really powerful energy. And you need to be able to absorb it. And then we can let go of all the madness. I wrote another book called Madness Falling from the Sky. We can let go of all the madness falling from the sky. And it's the key, and it's all dependent not on the external world. Nobody's going to fix this place. It's on inside us. We need to fix what's inside us. And then we can live here and enjoy this and recognize the very sacred nature of life. Life is being created every single moment around us. As I've said 1,000 times, Genesis didn't take place 1 billion years ago. It's taking place every moment. And what's missing is just human consciousness. Well, you got to have a system inside that enables you to embrace creation, manifesting around you, the sacred nature of life. That the real temple is not the church, the synagogue, the mosque, it's life. And life has so many different departments and elements to it, that in order to truly embrace it, we have to let go of of all these opinions and who we are and what we are, to embrace it and let it be our teacher. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, well, there'll be class again Sunday. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. And again, I end the class this way. I hope it doesn't. God bless you all for being here, for being part of this. Your presence is my teacher, and your presence, really is forcing me to work really deep in myself to grow. And I just have a lot of gratitude to each and every person that attends these classes. And to me, the great miracle is there are people here from Israel, from Italy, from Poland, from Belgium. I mean, it's extraordinary. All over Germany, all over the United States. And I think, it's kind of a miracle. So thank you, bless you all. And I'm hoping to see you all on Sunday.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.